Hey, what's going on, everybody? JB the Ranch Mechanic here, coming at you today on a very rainy but still excruciatingly hot, muggy northern Nevada day. Typically, we don't get humidity like this, but we've had some pretty wicked storms rolling through. As you can see, my shop is still recovering. The water's drying up, but it was an absolute flood up here earlier. As you can see, I've got 2 Fords and 2 Dodges in pieces in the shop. The Chevy's okay. That's my parts runner. I took that thing from basically about to be written off, and now it's got 170,000 miles on it, and it's absolutely perfect. So I'm kind of proud of that. But anyway, this video isn't about maintenance or a project or anything like that today. I'm actually making this video because I have some life update situational stuff to kind of brief you guys on. As you may have guessed by the title, oh, it's starting to rain again. Fantastic. As you may have guessed by the title of the video, my health has been a little bit dicey lately. And I really don't know why. The doctors don't know why either. I'm in fairly decent shape. Round as a shape. I mean, I'm overweight, but I'm not terribly overweight. I'm not morbidly obese or anything. But the stresses of my personal life, I think dealing with my mother's situation with cancer, as well as the stress of being the only mechanic here, trying to manage all of this, and then dealing with the 100-degree heat and everything else, it just caught up with me. And about 3 weeks ago, I woke up, started my day, got up a little bit earlier than I usually do, went to the bathroom, and while I was in the bathroom, I lost almost all of the feeling in both of my arms. Like I just had like noodle arms. It was really, really strange. And then my visual field started narrowing quite a bit. Didn't black out completely, but I had tunnel vision. And then I got a very, very, very intense pain deep down inside my chest. And, you know, I understand now why people confuse cardiac pain with heartburn, because it does feel like, to a certain degree, it feels a little bit like acid reflux. But I've had heartburn before. This was not heartburn. This was something far deeper down in my chest, and it scared me. It scared the living daylights out of me. I tried to stand up and kind of move around and shake it off a little bit, and I almost fell over. I had to kind of grab the toilet and catch myself. So I left the bathroom, obviously, and I went out, and I was kind of holding my arms up like this, you know, trying to keep all the blood flow close to my chest. And my wife asked me what was wrong, and I said, honey, I think you need to take me to the hospital. This feels like I'm having a heart attack. I don't know what's going on, but I can't feel my arms. I've got pain in my chest. I can't really see very well. I don't know what's going on, but I think we need to go. And she just kind of looked at me like, what? And that's exactly the reaction I had. I had denial for the first couple of minutes while I was trying to figure out what was going on in the bathroom. But and it didn't make any sense to me. I don't have any cardiac history on my side of the family. There's really nothing. I'm 39 years old. There's really nothing that would indicate I had an issue. I'm not a drug user. I'm relatively healthy. Like I said, I'm a little bit overweight, but I'm not, you know, really fat or anything. I'm not morbidly obese. So it didn't make any sense to me, but given all the symptoms and everything and what was going on, I felt it was necessary to go. And I'm glad that we did. Went to the ER, and I was there all day, like almost 12 hours. I was in the hospital, and they stuck an IV in me as soon as I got there, and they started pulling blood, you know, to check my cardiac enzyme levels and everything. And right when we first got there, my cardiac enzymes were elevated. And then 2 hours later, they did another blood draw, and they were even higher. So what that means is, essentially, I forget what the name of the enzyme is. I will annotate that on the screen here. But essentially, when your cardiac muscle is starved for blood flow or oxygen, it releases that enzyme, because your heart tissue, the muscle in your heart, is actually getting slightly damaged because it's not oxygenating. So that will release that particular enzyme into your bloodstream, and that's how they measure and tell whether or not you've had a cardiac event or something else is going on. And enzyme levels were elevated slightly when we first got there, and then they were even more elevated 2 hours later. So I definitely had some sort of significant cardiac event, is what they called it. They didn't call it a heart attack, and they still don't know exactly what happened, but it was a cardiac event. So I was in the hospital all day. They did multiple blood draws on me, several different CT scans, one of which was with contrast to check all of my vasculature and everything in my heart. and the surrounding areas. And if you've never had a CT scan with contrast, that is the weirdest sensation I have ever felt. I had never even had an IV before this particular hospital visit, so it was all very new to me and a little bit disconcerting. But when they put the contrast into your IV, it immediately goes right up to your head, and it feels like something is microwaving your blood. It feels like there's like a wave of heat that starts at the top of your head and goes all the way down your body, all the way to your toes. And once you realize it's not painful, and once you realize it's not actually hurting you, it's actually almost kind of soothing, because the rooms where they do CT scans are always very cold because it's a gigantic electromagnet and they have to maintain a certain temperature for the machine to function correctly. So it's actually a little bit soothing, but it's very strange at first. It heats your whole body up, and it only lasts about a minute and then it's done. But I went through several different CT scans, and everything came back perfectly. I did a cardiac stress test that afternoon. The cardiologist basically said, "You're here. Do you want to do the test now, or do you want to come back tomorrow?" I live an hour away from the hospital, so I'm like, let's just do it now and get it out of the way. He's like, "All right, well, that's got to be your first, a cardiac stress test at 5 p.m. on a Tuesday." I'm like, all right, I don't care what time it is. I just want to get it done. So I did it, and my heart is strong enough that I went through almost 4 complete rounds of the treadmill, where, they increase the speed and the elevation for each round, and they could barely get my heart rate to the target. And the cardiologist said, "Look, if we don't get your heart rate to the target heart rate within this next round, then you're good. We're not going to keep you on the machine. We're just going to call it good." And I finally, it was 153 was my target, and I was at like 144 almost the whole time. And I finally broke 150, 152, and then as soon as I hit 153, they shut it down. And everything was fine. They put me on a Holter monitor, which is a little stick-on monitor. I was supposed to wear it for a week. It fell off after 3 days. But that didn't pick up any abnormalities. So I don't know what's going on. But anyway, this whole story is basically boiling down to the following. I've just been living a life of way too much stress. I take everything way too seriously, I think, out here, because I'm so overwhelmed with everything that I have to deal with, and I do it by myself. They haven't hired anybody else to help me. They bring in guys every now and then to just kind of do stuff on the side, but there's no permanent employees that work here with me that kind of carry some of that workload. So I'm kind of responsible for everything, and I've got to make some changes to my life. I have a few ideas. I don't know what that's going to look like, but I should have some answers here within the next few weeks. But yeah, that's where I've been. That's what's been going on. I know I haven't put out any content since I think May, so I apologize for that. But yeah, things all of a sudden, everything kind of caught up with me a little bit here, and I ended up in the hospital as a result. So I apologize for that, guys, but I'm doing the best I can given the circumstances. I've been taking it easy for the last few weeks, but I'm fine. I have had no other occurrences of any kind of cardiac issues whatsoever. So the doctors basically just chalked it up to being a fluke as a result of stress. And that's it. But obviously I'm carrying around way too much stress. So I got to figure out a way to mitigate that a bit. So that's what I'm doing. I will figure all of that out here soon. And I'm fairly confident that some pretty big changes are going to be coming to my life, and probably as a result to the YouTube channel. I'm not going away completely. That much I can promise you. But some things might be changing here soon. I don't know that for sure, like I said. But as soon as I know and have some answers, I will put out another video, and I'll let you guys know what's going on. But in the meantime, I will try to do my best to put out some content here. Another thing that has really held me up, and I just now remembered this, about a month ago, I shattered the screen on my my Note 20 Ultra, my phone that I use for all of my filming, the phone that I've got now, actually. This is the replacement device that I'm recording this on. And I've mentioned before in some of my videos that I use an app called KineMaster to edit all of my videos right on my phone, because I just don't have time to sit in front of a computer. I'm too busy. Well, when I got the new device, I transferred over my micro SD card and my SIM card and everything, and I tried to pull up my KineMaster app. All the files were in the same place on my phone. Everything had been transferred over. Samsung is cool because you can just do that smart switch thing where it just automatically ports over all of your settings. Your icons remain the same on your screens and all that. Everything remains the same. But KineMaster, for whatever reason, could not find any of the video files on the SD card and translate them to any of the editing that I had already done. Probably 20 hours of editing, 6 or 7 different videos that weren't finished yet, that were in the queue. did not populate on the replacement device for whatever reason. So I'm like, crap. So I took off I have an OtterBox case that, it's a kind of a process in and of itself to disassemble. Took the case back off, took my micro SD card back out, put it in my old device, and I figured I would just try to process the videos that were still in the works as they currently were, and just save them to the SD card and move them over to the new phone, and then just re-upload them into the KineMaster app with the edits that I had already done, and then just basically treat it like one big video file and then do my editing from there. Well, I put the SD card back into my old device, and KineMaster still couldn't. All of the video editing that I had already done, the app could not find. It could not translate anything because I had taken the SD card out of the phone or whatever. I guess that somehow screwed up the app. And their customer service was zero help. So I lost everything. I basically just had to wipe the old device. I was going to get charged $300 if I didn't send the phone back with the damaged screen. So anyway, I lost all of 20 hours worth of editing, guys. And that was a kind of a kick to the nuts, if I'm being honest. That's a lot of time that I spent trying to get stuff done for you guys. And I still have all the raw video files on my SD card, but man, that's a lot of time. It's a lot of time spent trying to get all that done, and then to lose all that work, that's just a bummer. So I don't think I'm going to be using KineMaster anymore on my phone for editing. I'm going to set up my old desktop computer and see if that can handle some either Adobe or whatever. If you guys have any video editing software that you're familiar with that you recommend that's relatively user-friendly, because I'm not terrible. I mean, I'm not stupid when it comes to computers, but I'm certainly not the guru that my wife is. But if you have any suggestions for an app to use that's either inexpensive or free, let me know, because I'd really like to try to re-edit some of this stuff and get it put out for you. But yeah, that's kind of where I'm at right now, guys. I know it's kind of been, radio silence from me for the last little while, but that's why. Not only the health thing, but the video editing app thing and all that other garbage. So anyway, I'm still alive. I'm still okay. Just trying to make some positive changes to my life and get all this figured out. So as soon as I have some answers, I'll let you guys know. And if there are to be any changes, I will definitely keep you updated. So again, thank you very much. I appreciate all of my new subscribers. I appreciate all the comments on my older videos and some of my newer videos. I'm still trying to get in there and answer all your questions and everything. So I really like interacting with you guys. I appreciate each and every one of you who've subscribed to the channel. You guys are awesome, and you're the reason that I keep doing all of this. So again, thank you for your time. Thank you for your patience. Stick with me, and I will keep you guys up to date if anything changes. So for now, you guys be safe, have fun, and I'll catch you guys on the next one. See ya.